So now we have our first web page up and running, we're going to look at some specific HTML tags that we can use to make our websites look like something other than just plain text. And in this video, we'll be looking at header tags. So I'm going to get rid of the text there, my first web page, and I'm going to do my first header tag. Now, do you remember how we do that from the example.com that we looked at a couple of videos ago? If so, then try putting in a header tag. Go for it. I hope you managed it. If not, don't worry. We open a tag in the normal way with our angled brackets, and then our first header tag we're going to use is H1. And then my text editor gives me the closing tag as well, which is very handy. If yours doesn't, then just write it out manually. It's not a problem. And I'm going to type, this is a big header. Then let's have a look. So we'll save that and take a look. There we go. So you can see this is what an H1 tag looks like with no custom styling. It's a nice big bold header. And that's about it. That's all we can do with an H1 tag. With an H2 tag, as you might guess, it's quite a big header. Not quite as big as H1, but let's have a look. There we go. So it's bigger than normal text and bold, but smaller than an H1. So you can probably see where this is going. We can have an H3. And it's getting smaller and smaller as we go on. And I'm actually just going to copy and paste so you don't have to see me type out each one. So that's going to be an H4. Let's have a quick look at that. So obviously we're getting smaller and smaller every time, and we can keep going. So H5. Smaller again. We're actually getting smaller than normal text here. And we can keep going. We can have an H6 header as well. I must say at this point, they're very rarely used, the H6 header. I don't think I've ever gone beyond an H4 in any of the websites that I've used. So it's very unlikely you'll use an H6. But just to point out, if we try and use an H7 header, we get back to normal text. So this is actually not an H7 header because H7 doesn't exist. So we can't use an H7 header. If we try to do it, it'll just give us normal text as if it hasn't recognized the tag. So headers go all the way from H1 to H6, but to be honest, you'll probably only use H1, H2, and maybe H3 in your documents, and occasionally possibly H4. But as I say, I've never used an H5 or an H6. But header tags are very useful and are also good for getting your site listed in Google if you put your important keywords, that is, the words that you want your site to appear for in Google, in an H1 tag, then they're much more likely to appear higher up the Google search results than if you just put them in normal text. So I definitely recommend using H1 tags on all your pages, and probably H2 tags as well if you've got some slightly smaller headings that you want to use. Alright, so now you're an expert in header tags. In the next video, we're going to look at paragraph tags, which was the other formatting tag that we saw in the example.com website.